Early life and education, birth and family background. Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov, later known as Lenin, was born on April 22, 1870, in Simbirsk, Russia. He was the third of 6 children in a middle-class family. His father, Ilya Nikolaevich Ulyanov, was a well-educated man who worked as a school inspector and eventually became a director of primary schools. His mother, Maria Alexandrovna Ulyanova, came from a family of the minor nobility and was well-educated, fluent in several languages. Education and early influences. Lenin was an excellent student, showing a keen interest in literature and politics from an early age. Tragedy struck the family in 1887 when Lenin's older brother Alexander was executed for his involvement in a plot to assassinate Tsar Alexander III. This event had a profound impact on Lenin and solidified his revolutionary ideals. Revolutionary activities and exile. University and radicalization. Lenin enrolled at Kazan University to study law, but his involvement in student protests led to his expulsion. He continued his studies independently and eventually earned a law degree. During this time, Lenin was introduced to Marxist literature and became heavily influenced by the works of Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. Early revolutionary activities. In the early 1890s, Lenin moved to St. Petersburg, where he became involved in revolutionary activities. He joined the Social Democratic Labor Party and began to rise as a prominent Marxist thinker. His activities led to his arrest and exile to Siberia in 1895. During his exile, Lenin continued to write and develop his revolutionary ideas, producing influential works such as The Development of Capitalism in Russia. Formation of the Bolshevik Party, return from exile and party formation. After his release from exile, Lenin traveled to Western Europe, where he continued his revolutionary activities. In 1903, a split occurred within the SDLP, leading to the formation of 2 factions, the Bolsheviks, led by Lenin, and the Mensheviks. Lenin's Bolsheviks advocated for a small, disciplined party of professional revolutionaries, while the Mensheviks favored a broader, more inclusive party. Revolution of 1905. The Revolution of 1905 was a crucial period for Lenin and the Bolsheviks. Although the revolution ultimately failed, it provided valuable lessons and highlighted the weaknesses of the Tsarist regime. Lenin believed that the working class, led by a vanguard party, could overthrow the autocracy and establish a socialist state. The October Revolution and rise to power World War I and the February Revolution World War I further destabilized Russia, leading to widespread discontent. In February 1917, a revolution erupted, resulting in the abdication of Tsar Nicholas II and the establishment of a provisional government. Lenin, who was in exile in Switzerland, saw an opportunity to return to Russia and seize power. The October Revolution. Lenin returned to Petrograd, now St. Petersburg, in April 1917 and began to campaign for an immediate overthrow of the provisional government. On October 25, 1917, Julian calendar, the Bolsheviks, led by Lenin, successfully stormed the Winter Palace and took control of the government. This event marked the beginning of Soviet Russia. Leadership and legacy. Civil War and consolidation of power. The Bolsheviks' seizure of power led to a brutal civil war between the Red Army, Bolsheviks, and the White Army, anti-Bolsheviks. Lenin and the Bolsheviks implemented drastic measures, including the nationalization of industry and the establishment of the Cheka, secret police. By 1921, the Red Army emerged victorious, and Lenin's government solidified its control over Russia. Recognizing the need to rebuild the war-torn economy, Lenin introduced the new economic policy in 1921. The NEP allowed for a partial return to a market economy, with small businesses and private farming permitted. This policy helped to stabilize the economy and garnered some support among the peasantry. Health decline and Lenin's health began to deteriorate in the early 1920s. He suffered a series of strokes, which left him partially paralyzed and increasingly incapacitated. Despite his declining health, Lenin continued to influence Soviet policy and politics. On January 21, 1924, Lenin died at the age of 53. His body was embalmed and placed on display in a mausoleum on Red Square in Moscow, where it remains to this day. Legacy Lenin established the Soviet Union, the first socialist state, influencing global communist movements and 20th century history. His leadership and revolutionary ideas are seen as both a championing of the working class and as authoritarian and repressive. Historians debate his contributions to Marxist theory and the effects of his policies, particularly his role in shaping Soviet society and influencing leaders like Stalin. His legacy remains significant and widely studied.